You know, at the start of today, we were staring at maybe we'll have the fourth consecutive negative month. So I was getting quite worried, right? Because then I had to pull out, suppose we have the fourth negative month, then I said, when was the last fifth negative month? So the last fourth negative month was in 2001. And that time we fell close on 22%. Then I said, but let's start bracing suppose we fall again. So the only time we fell in 5 consecutive months was in 1996. Well, that's okay because we're not seeing that. We've broken that streak, and that's why we have ended the 4th month in the green. Let's talk about what happened last year. So last year was a quiet year, but it was a stock pickers market. And I say that because stocks, well, they went up 20 to around 50%, and they fell down as well 20 to around 50% odd. Let's focus first on the challenges that were upon us. One is interest rate hikes globally. They were expected to come about, pull out some liquidity from the system. Valuations in India were a bit of a concern. As Prashant said, you know, they're trading at around 17.5 times. At one point of time, the Indian markets were trading at 21, 22 times odd. China reopened, took some part of the flows, and also China doing well. Well, Indian markets did underperform out there. And a couple of other reasons. The FIs, they've sold our markets for majority of the fiscal towards the end of the year. The US banking crisis, well, that's what put the global markets in a bit of a tizzy. Focusing on India, you know, the Dow Jones as well as China. China has been a relative outperformer because of the way it rallied from November onwards. But focusing on the Indian markets, you'll see it was down only around 0.5%. The pain really was in the small cap index. That was down more than 10%, while the Nifty bank did reasonably well. But there were plenty of stocks that were moving around. And the reason that the Nifty was more or less flattish is because from the Nifty itself, from the 50 stocks, you had big movers on either side. So let's get some of those up for you on the screen. On the Nifty, you had ITC that was up more than 50%. Remember, that's a big mover in there. Mahindra and Mahindra, one-way ride. It was up close to around 40%. NTPC, HUL, as well as Britannia. So those are the big winners from the Nifty pack. On the losing end, though, you got the stock wrong, well, you paid for it big time. And the Nifty IT index had its worst year since FY 2009. It was down more than 20%, a big underperformer. And that's why Wipro, you have Infosys in there, and Tech Mahindra as well. Big losses out there. Besides that, Divi's, Hindalco, Bajaj Finserv, all of them were under some pressure. But you got the stock wrong from the broader markets and you paid for it. Loris, Gland Pharma, 50 to 60% lower. They were market darlings at one point of time. Vodafone Idea, you felt maybe it can't fall more. Well, it fell more than 40%, actually, nearly 40%. Biocon as well as Godrej Properties. But let's brighten up the screen, and before we wind up, let's leave you with some of the big gainers. Highly traded stocks, TVS Motors was expensive, is expensive. It's up close to around 70%. You have Bank of India, you have Tube Investments, CG Power, MMFSL. But you'd be really happy if you're looking at your portfolio and you had these stocks that should come up for you on the screen. They have doubled your money in the last 1 year. Apart Industries, Mascon Dock, Finolex Cables, Karur Vysya Bank, RVNL, as well as BLS. So if you had them, it was a good year. But otherwise, more or less a flattish year for the Indian markets, but a stock pickers market for sure. Back to you guys.
Nigel, thanks very much for that.
You know, one thing I noticed in the list